Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to another episode of Shift Code and Learn. This is your host Hina Murtaza. I manage People and Culture at GoodCore Software. The transition from university life to the professional life can be very exciting, yet sometimes can be overwhelming, especially in tech roles. Today, we're going to see how that transition actually looks like beyond all the grades that we have in the university. We have Ms. Samia Khalid joining us today in order to explore this topic with me. She's an SQA engineer who has navigated this transition firsthand. Welcome to the show, Samia.
Thank you for having me, Hina.
So, Samia, let's start with the big one. What difference do you feel between your university life as compared to your first job?
Honestly, the biggest shift was responsibility. In university, if you mess up, the impact is only limited to you, your grades, and your progress. But in real life, if you mess up, your work affects products, teams, and sometimes even the customers. So it carries a lot more weight. And also, there's no structured curriculum at work. You're expected to figure things out, ask questions when you get stuck, and take ownership of your own learning.
Right. Samia, a lot of students have expectations that how their first job is going to be like. What about you? How was the reality different from what you expected?
Okay, so I used to think that I needed to know everything before starting work over here, but that's not true at all. A fresh graduate is not expected to have all of the answers, and most of the learning usually happens on the job.
Right.
I think what matters more is your attitude, how you're willing to learn, and how you handle feedback. That is reassuring, but it is also intimidating at the same time because you're surrounded with experienced people who just seem to know everything. But eventually you realize that these are also the people who are there to guide you, and eventually you just grow into it.
Yes, exactly. I think I completely agree. You sometimes also find your mentors during this time. I know a lot of people who found their mentors during their first job only. So you're very right. हर कोई अपनी job पे कोई ना कोई challenge face करता है. What were the challenges that you faced in your job?
अच्छा, मुझे जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज लगा वो ये था was to like deal with the complexity of real world systems. जब आप यूनिवर्सिटी में होते हैं, things are small, they're contained, but in a real product, even small changes can be connected across multiple parts. और कुछ products इतने diverse होते हैं कि कोई एक बंदा उस प्रोडक्ट को पूरे तरीके से उसके पास उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं होती है.
Right.
So you're constantly, everybody has their own areas and you're constantly communicating with different people and you're learning and you're just connecting the dots.
Samia, from your experience, which skills do you think the university doesn't usually prepare the students for?
I think soft skills definitely. Communication, teamwork, and time management are critical, but they're often overlooked. And also practical exposure, tools, processes, and how teams actually work together. The theory helps, of course, but real growth happens when you apply the theory in real environments.
True, that's right. So Samia, आप क्या एडवाइस देना चाहेंगी जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स और फ्रेश ग्रेजुएट्स हैं जो अपनी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में एंटर होने वाले हैं अपनी, उनको आप क्या एडवाइस देना चाहेंगी?
सबसे पहले तो मैं ये कहूँगी कि आप सवाल पूछें. सवाल पूछने से बिल्कुल भी नहीं डरिए. बार बार पूछें until and unless your concepts are not clear. जब तक आपको आपके सवाल का जवाब नहीं मिल जाता, आप वो सवाल बार बार पूछते रहें. और just do not be afraid to ask questions, speak your mind, and also be patient with yourself because growth does take time.
I agree. कुछ लोग होते हैं जो बहुत हेस्टी हो जाते हैं और उनको ऐसा लगता है कि वो बस सब कुछ एक साथ ही सीखना चाहते हैं. वो अपनी एनर्जी को बहुत सारी चीज़ों पे एक साथ लगा रहे होते हैं. बट देन एज यू सेड दैट वी हैव टू बी पेशेंट विद आवरसेल्व्स, नंबर वन. सेकेंडली कि ग्रोथ जो है वो कंसिस्टेंट और जो परसिस्टेंट रहते हैं उनकी होती है, ओवरनाइट नहीं होती. तो ये जो है वो कुछ चीज़ें आई थिंक लोग बच्चों को अपने माइंड में रखनी चाहिए वंस दे आर एंटरिंग देयर प्रोफेशनल लाइफ.
जी बिल्कुल, आपको अपनी बेसिक फंडामेंटल कॉन्सेप्ट स्ट्रॉन्ग करने चाहिए. आप ये नहीं कि आप बस एक साथ ही सब कुछ अपने ऊपर ले लें. बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स अपने स्ट्रॉन्ग करें एंड कंसिस्टेंसी मैटर्स मोर देन स्पीड.
अग्रीड. कुछ होते हैं जो बहुत ओवरवेल हो जाते हैं फिर कि क्योंकि उनको ऐसा लग रहा होता है कि शायद उनसे हो नहीं रहा या वो जल्दी उस चीज़ को पिक नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. But I mean, slowly and steadily, it works out in the end.
Yes,
But you just have to keep learning. You have to keep putting in efforts.
Yes, that is exactly what happens. But be patient with yourself.
Thank you so much, Samia, for such an insightful conversation.
Thank you for having me, Hina. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Likewise. To our listeners, if you're stepping into a new role or if you're preparing for it, always remember that learning never stops. It just changes form. Thank you for listening to our podcast, Shift, Code and Learn. We'll see you in the next episode.